look at the stats, sometimes it's unfair. Like you will go in and then maybe you don't have points or maybe you don't have rebounds enough, or you look at it as how do you impact the game. Like for me, this is my job. This is what I do. It's how I feel about it. And at the end of the day, it was like I come in the court and I do whatever it takes to win. And every night is different. Some nights we might need you to facilitate. Some nights we might need you to go to the board. Some nights it's the nights we need you to guard the best player. And, but just do whatever it takes to have a chance to win.
Marcus, numbers never lie, but sometimes they don't tell the whole story. And in the case of Thanasis, you look at the stat line, and you can't really tell his impact from that.
No, you can't. And the one thing about it last night, he played 17 minutes. He was a +4. All the starters were in the minus territory. So that gives you an idea of the positive impact that he had on the game last night.
We'll look out for it tonight. The last time that Thanasis started, a double-double. So we'll see.
The nasty in the house.
The nasty. Zora, good luck tonight. And I know Jim's got the scheduled night off. I think he's across the street at the Mecca Sports Bar.
That sounds right.
He's going to have a night over there and watch the game as a fan and probably text over here a few times.
And he's earned it. He's earned it.
Absolutely, for sure. All right, plenty more to come here as we get you set for the Bucks and the Hornets here tonight. Ahead in Bucks Live, presented by Freighter at the Medical College of Wisconsin. The Hornets have been one of the surprise teams in the East all season long, but now are challenging for a top 4 seed come playoff time. It's a 20-day stretch where the Bucks are only playing a single home game here in Milwaukee. A quick stop in the Cream City tonight. And Bobby Buckets, a long road trip. Milwaukee ends up 3-3. And there are plenty of years in the past you'd be happy going out west taking a 3-3 record, but if you watch those games in the last couple fourth quarters, I don't want to say the Bucks gave the game away. I mean, it was hard fought, and that's where games are won in the fourth quarter. But they had some opportunities there, and I know defensively, Bud's probably not real happy with how things turned out.
Yeah, I think you're right. You go on the West Coast, much less just a road trip, and if, like you said, you end up 500. Generally speaking, that's not the worst thing in the world. But for the team to be 3-1. 4 games into that road trip and then lose to Golden State by 1 when they had the lead in the fourth quarter and lose to Dallas, and in a similar fashion, not being able to close out the game, it is unfortunate. It feels like there was something left on the table. And so, look, all the guys haven't been playing. Giannis has been out, and he's missed some time. But this is still a very tight race. This Bucks team is in the 3rd spot in the East, and they are trying to climb and get into a higher position. And so regular season is important. Being healthy is important. We're kind of watching the priorities unfold.
And it's so difficult, too, to take when you know you've got the lead, you know you've got some momentum, and then things kind of changed on the dime the last 2 games, the one in Dallas last night and then the one at Golden State earlier in the week, Steve. And you see what's happening. Our Menards tools to win. The Bucks fourth quarter points allowed the last 4 games. That's a lot in the fourth quarter, to be sure.
It's a lot. Look, when I played for Coach Quinn Snyder with the Utah Jazz, he would always say, boys, give up 24 points a quarter. Unrealistic, typical of great defensive coaches. But giving up 36, 37 points per fourth quarter is not a way to close the game. And Golden State, they did their job. They came out attacking, made a nice comeback. They made plays. But the Bucks played good games. They had the leads in the fourth quarter. Look, guys like Steph Curry, if they're going to make shots like that, you kind of tip your hat to them. But it comes down to being able to close out. There is no doubt when you're giving up 14-1 runs, 19-8 right there against the Dallas Mavericks, you can lose games. And the Bucks had these games in certain ways where stars were scoring the ball. Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton had big games against Golden State. The Bucks ended up losing because they didn't close. Then in this Dallas game, it was more by committee. The starters had scored between 13 points and 22 points. Everybody was involved, but they still lost the game because they didn't close. And so no matter what kind of performance this Bucks team has, if they're not there and ready to close defensively in games, that's how the playoffs will look. That's how the regular season will look. If they do guard and they guard the way they're capable of, there's no question. They can win by committee. They can win with star scoring. And when they guard, they're really tough to stop.
Steve, during that 8-game winning streak the Bucks had about a month ago, Bud had a pretty good rotation going of about 8, maybe 9 guys. That got disrupted a little bit. Now we're dealing with some injuries here right now. How much just of the rotation alone changing in some of these games, especially down the stretch in the fourth quarter, has something to do with sometimes struggling like this?
You know, every time there's a guy that is inserted or taken out of the lineup, there is a very real change. And I think it has to do with, you hear coaches and players talk about it all the time. what is my role? I'm so good at my role. I really play my role. I stay in my lane. And every time a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo is out of the lineup, every guy in the court, their role changes a little bit because Giannis is out. If you inject a new guy into the lineup, the role changes. And I think even when you have a group that plays well together, there's no doubt that the consistency of that group being together allows them to really be successful and figure out what their lane is, what their role is. Thanasis has some good sound bites about that. My job is to go out there and do whatever it takes to win. And so it's great to hear a guy like him say that. But if you ask other guys, they would probably have different responses. My job is to make shots. You don't make shots, you're coming out of the game. And so it is very important, I think, that it is consistent. And I think you see that. There has been a lot of changes, and it's been tough on the team.
Get this team a little healthier, get them going here in the next month or so, and get ready for playoff time and get that rotation down set. All right, plenty more.
In my front yard, Craigers.
What'd you do?
I put landscape lighting. I'm a big lighting guy. I think it looks fantastic.
Do you have colored lighting like that?
Not yet.
Maybe in arches, like come into my house here, say hello?
If I can get some private funding, perhaps we can get that
Driveway?
done. Yeah, well, this will be our... If anybody was willing to give to that, here we are. We're ready to light the Novak.
Well, I'll tell you what, at the annual spring party for playoff time, I will look forward to seeing that.
Sounds good. You're invited. You know that.
Will. I know, for sure. All right. Welcome back to the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. Hornets and Bucks here tonight. Hornets, like the Bucks, missing some rising stars and some new stars. They are in the East, but that injury bug certainly is bitten them. LaMelo Ball, Gordon Hayward, Malik Monk. They're all out, and they produce about 50 points a game combined, so they're dealing with stuff, too, this time of year.
Yeah, they are. There's a lot of teams with injuries, but there's no question the Hornets missing their could-be Rookie of the Year, LaMelo Ball. He's been fun to watch. Gordon Hayward, a lot of those leading scorers. And so, looking at these standings, Craig, it's going to impact them. They are in a tight race right now. Charlotte is. So losing those guys is tough.
So Devontae Graham, Terry Rozier, a couple of names that have stepped up at this point. They would love to stay up in that upper tier of the Eastern Conference. They might be the biggest surprise team in the East if they can get that done with these injuries.
Yeah, the injuries don't make it easy. They do have guys that can step up, but there's no question the middle of the East is tight. 3 through 6, just a couple games separate those guys. But these are the guys right here, Terry Rozier and Devontae Graham, that have stepped up. When LaMelo Ball went down, Terry Rozier at the point, one of the best transition players in the game right now. He's shooting the ball at a really high level. When you look at those efficiency numbers, field goal numbers, really what that means is when these two guys are on the court, they're making shots. And when they're on the court together, they make this team a lot better. And so this team, yes, they're missing people, but they're still a big-time threat because they've stepped up, making shots like that. Terry Rozier has given this Bucks team problems when he was with the Boston Celtics. Now he's with the Charlotte Hornets. He's got a running mate in Devontae Graham. They combine for 34 points like you see there, and they can absolutely make plays. We saw the Milwaukee Bucks when the starters were out, when there weren't guys that were used to seeing out there getting buckets. Guys like Thanasis stepped up. Guys like Sam Merrill stepped up. These guys have the same thing going for the Charlotte Hornets.
So the Bucks starting 5 not playing in this game. The Hornets missing a few starters as well. But the game goes on. This is why they have the depth, and this is what we're going to look forward to here tonight. A different, probably, pace of action, too, than we would normally see between these two teams.
Yeah, certainly will be. And I think the thing that I always tell when my son comes to the game or I hear one of his little buddies is coming and they're like, Giannis is out. It does stink, but you know what? Sometimes you get very happily surprised. The other night it was Thanasis who had a big-time game, and it's fun to see a guy like Wara and Sam Merrill, and these guys get other opportunities. I think back to a guy like Christian Wood, him getting a few extra minutes when he was with the Bucks. You get to really see what these guys can do, and if they can find a way to win this game and keep this Bucks team on track after losing the last 2 games, it'd be a very good visit back home in a 10-game stretch where it's really the only home game for this team.
Yeah, you know, that's the thing I was going to ask you next. This one home game in a 20-day stretch. They got in late last night from Dallas. They turn around and play tonight's game, and then the Bucks are leaving tomorrow for their next road trip. So this is one of these things is, you tell me, you go through a situation like this, and it's like, am I home? Am I not home? What's going on right now?
You just come in to unpack the bag and repack the bag. You're on the road long enough, you got to make a pit stop home and get some fresh stuff. So, like you said, they got in so late. Obviously didn't have shoot-around this morning with that kind of schedule, but they're right back at it to play again. This is what they do. They're certainly in a rhythm, although unorthodox with some guys out and that kind of thing, but I think their ability to focus and really take advantage of a home game and a time for a lot of these guys to show what they can do and have another great opportunity is what tonight is all about.
9 Milwaukee Bucks will be on the court here tonight. That's plenty.
That's plenty.
That's plenty.
Like Jalen McDaniel, like Miles Bridges, like PJ, to knock down those threes. So you got to find different ways of scoring the basketball with all the attention on Terry Rozier now. And I think the guys have found ways to do that, and hopefully it'll continue tonight.
Coach Borrego said he's going to just get creative night after night with these lineups. But because of Jalen's big night on Wednesday, his second career start, and the way that he produced, he is, of course, getting that second nod again tonight. But like you mentioned, just small ball for the Hornets. I mean, how long do you think that they can kind of stretch out this small ball lineup, or do you see Coach Borrego still kind of getting creative?
Hey, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I mean, yeah, I think that's part of his creativity is playing that way. So it's hard for an opponent to really prepare for a team that has not played this lineup for an extended period of time. And at any moment, he said, you know, I'll mix and match the starting lineup depending on the opponent, depending on the matchup. So everybody's got to be ready to go. But it's hard to prepare for the Hornets right now. Other than Rozier, you don't know who's going to step up and have big games. And again, with Rozier having the basketball and putting so much attention, those other guys have to be ready. They have to be confident. They have to put their work in and know that they're going to make shots. They're going to get open looks when they're on the floor. They got to knock them down. That's what NBA players do. So I think all the guys are playing confident right now. And again, they're playing with house money tonight. Already 3 wins on this tough 6-game road trip. So hopefully they can get another one tonight, come back here 3-3. And then down the stretch here, you've got a lot of home games where you're playing well. You've got a lot of players contributing on both ends of the floor, and momentum's on your side.
I'm sure no one could predict how this starting lineup would look, you know, 50-odd games in. I mean, Cody Zeller, he's coming off the bench now, and he's providing. He's really bringing that second spark with all these guys out. You know, Malik was such a big guy that came off the bench, and now we see Cody doing his thing. He had a double-double.
Yeah, kudos to Cody Zeller. Been a starter most of the year. Missed a couple games, then he comes back off the bench. He's been a tremendous spark, scoring the ball off the bench, and he's doing it on the offensive end, rebounding the ball, 22 second chance points against the OKC Thunder. He's always going to be in the right spot. I love that. Wait for the defensive flyby. This was a good play right here where he sets a screen and understands the timing that it takes for him to slip, get out of that screen, and then get himself prepared for the basketball. So Cody Zeller, 15 points, 6 of 11 field goals. That's a lot of field goal attempts for Cody Zeller. That tells me he was active and looking for the ball with the 14 rebounds right there in only 28 minutes. So I think he's relishing in the role of coming off the bench, changing the game. It gives a totally different dynamic to how the Hornets are playing now with that second unit. And you see the current road trip, you're up and down, up and down. You need a little more consistency, but you're talking about the Nets and the Celtics. They're really tough teams. So again, if you can score 111 points, you know, and you know, get some stops on the other end, I think you could get another win tonight. And we're going to talk about the Bucks. This will be a totally different team than what the Hornets faced earlier. So I think, again, Hornets, if they concentrate on the defensive end, you can stay right where you're at in these standings. As we look at Brooklyn still on top, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, you know, they're trending downward a little bit. A lot of injuries, and there's the Hornets right there in 4th spot. Atlanta really playing good basketball. Miami, Boston. So no time to take your foot off the gas. You got to continue to win games, especially games where you have an advantage. I think the Hornets will have an advantage tonight.
I love what you said. They're playing with house money tonight, so hopefully they can get this victory before coming back to the Queen City. Well, like Del said, it's a different-looking Bucks team than a lot of places. A lot of teams have seen these last couple weeks. Tonight, completely different. They've had a couple flops the last few. The game on Sunday as well. I know, Del. What a steal. Fans can shop online as well, 24/7 at HornetsFanshop.com. You can also follow them on Instagram at Hornets Fan Shop for all the latest deals there. $9.
$9.
That is a steal.
And it's time to wear tees. It's nice outside.
It's time to wear tees.
Right.
So come on down on Sunday, get yourself a Hornets fan gear. All right, so this Bucks team, definitely not what anyone's used to. So many guys out. I mean, we might as well talk about who we might see, but man, basically their entire starting lineup minus Bobby Portis out out tonight.
Second opponent in a row where the Hornets will see an entirely starting different lineup than the previous game. OKC, none of their guys started the last game that we've seen the previous game. And tonight, Giannis, you're talking about a guy 29-6, two-time MVP. Holiday, probably the best defensive perimeter guy they have on the team. Second in steals in the NBA. DiVincenzo can move his feet, knock down threes. Lopez right there in blocks, top the leaders in blocks. And then Middleton, I call him Mr. Everything for this team, an all-star guy who can knock down shots, a matchup nightmare in the post, can put it on the floor, and he's a good defender as well. So a Bucks team that's really hurting right now. And again, we're heading down the stretch run of the NBA. You played a ton of games in a short period of time. Injuries, soreness, all those things starting to catch up. And Mike Budenholzer has to be really nervous about the health of how these guys are going to get forward and get through these games while staying in top of the Eastern Conference, because as we just showed you, as tight as it is, they could fall down and maybe have to go on the road early in the playoff series. But they've got to get Giannis and Antetokounmpo as healthy if they want to do anything in the Eastern Conference.
Absolutely. They just played last night in Dallas. They lost that game, and they lost the last two, played Golden State as well. But for someone who we will see tonight, that's Bobby Portis, and he's had a couple great games these last few, 18 points, 13 points, 20 points. What do you see from a guy like Portis? A
guy that wants to score the basketball, and you know he can do that. He has a career high of 38 in the league as a young player, and you see 46% from 353 shooting from the field. There's a lot of shots available tonight. When you're talking about the Bucks guys that are out, he's going to take the predominantly all those shots. Look at that. He 5 for 5 when he played here at Spectrum Center. That was really his only made jumper he lived in the paint. Big size guy, physical guy. You see him can hit threes, put it on the floor. That was a back to the basket guy, so he can be a matchup nightmare. You cannot let him get going. I think you got to throw multiple defenders at him, change things up. If he gets going, you got to double team him, make him give it up, and make some other guys who are not used to scoring when they really need it score tonight. So Portis will get all the attention. He's very capable, but can he carry a team through 4 quarters? They were up 4 the other night going into the 4th quarter against Dallas and end up.
It is all about head coach James Borrego. Here is a sneak peek of episode 7.
Nick, let's start underneath the hoop now. This one, actually, let's start you up top.
I think JB's a good motivational coach that finds different ways to get the guys' attention, both the X's and O's and stuff off the court. He tries to relate to them with basketball and also with stuff at home and in life in general.
No excuses. Gordon out. Melo out. Monk out. No excuses. No complaining. No whining. Great opportunity for every one of us in this room. Everybody else step up. Control what we can't control, right? The guys in this room right now, the men in this room, control what we can't control.
JB is a coach, number one, that really cares about the players. I think he's really intentional about his relationship with them. I think as a result of that, the guys really try to do their best to give their all for him and for each other. And pretty fun to be around.
Last 13 games of the season last year, remember that? Everybody remember that? 7-6, a winning record. This group was playing its best basketball season. This group right here, right now. You're prepared for it. You're ready for it now. It's time to go now. You want your opportunity now.
It's that confidence that he instills in us.
Jeez. You got it. Hey! Mayday, front! Mayday! Go!
He just believe in us. When there's a lot of people out there, you hear a lot of trash talking and people talking down on the team and stuff like that. And, we got a lot of young guys that want to win. And Coach is a young coach that also wants to win and is hungry. So I think we kind of feed off each other's energy, and we go out there and we just try to put it all on the line for each other.
Well, to watch the full episode, it's going to be available tomorrow. You can head to Hornets.com or the Hornets mobile app. So you definitely want to check that one out because Coach Borrego, he has just done a fantastic job in the time that he has spent here, Della. The 3 seasons he's here. Best record through 50 games for the Hornets in the last 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, just like you want to see your players improve from year to year, you want your coaching staff to improve from year to year also. And he said that his staff challenges himself. He challenges his staff to get better, to get creative. Now his 3rd year, he knows his roster. He can put them in better situations to be successful. And when your players are successful, the coaching staff's going to be successful because it's all about wins and losses. So I think these guys love playing for James Borrego, and I think they do. He has a voice in the locker room that they trust, they respect, and when you have that as a player, you want to play hard, you want to win for your coach, the entire staff. He motivates you. You know he cares, not only on the floor, but in the things you have in your personal life as well. All those things combined is what an NBA makes a great NBA coach, and I think we have one here in Charlotte.
He said it is all about player development to make a good team and trust. So we love to see it. All right, let's hear from head coach James Borrego now. He is standing by via Zoom with our own Eric Collins. Tonight's interview is presented by the Fresh Market.
Coach, thank you so much for your time. Just want to talk big picture now. Look at your record. You've played about 50 games. You're 26-24. That's the most wins through 50 games in the season in over 20 years for this franchise. Really cool number. Do you think the rest of the world and the basketball community understands what you guys have accomplished so far this year?
I don't really know, I don't know how to answer that. I'm not sure if they do or not. It's our job to continue to get better. I'm really proud of what this group has done. When you look back, you've seen the growth of this team from the first day we got here, to last season to where we're at today. And obviously we're not satisfied with where we're at. I'm proud of where we're at, but there's not a satisfaction here. And, my hope is that the basketball world and the NBA world is taking notice. That is my hope, for my guys' sake, for our players' sake. They deserve it. But more than anything, we got to continue to do our part, and it's our job to put our team on the map. It's our job to make people notice. And we're far from doing that, I think we're moving in the right direction. But now it's about continuing that momentum, that process. And it starts by just doing our job every single day.
All right, you have a chance to win this road trip if you win tonight's game. I want to ask you about Miles Bridges. He leads the team in just one category, and that's games played, which is saying something. In this year, when guys have been out so much, when guys have been nicked up, Miles Bridges has been available every single game. Can you talk to me about what Miles Bridges is like in that locker room and what he means to the organization?
He brings us stability and consistency. This kid is, came into this league at a young age. Obviously, he's still a very young player. He's only been here a couple of years. And just to see his growth and maturity has been impressive. And I couldn't be more proud of him. But he brings us that stability and that consistency. For a young guy, that's difficult. Most young guys right now, it's, they're missing a couple games, they're missing practices, they don't show up. This guy's on time every day, does his job, does his work. And it shows, I think the biggest word I could use for Miles is he's become professional. He's a professional right now. And that's what we want to be about. He's an example for all the other young players that come in to our program.
I want to ask you about tonight's game. Obviously, you know what's happening with the Bucks. The Bucks are a very good team, but they're trying to make this one a fair fight tonight. They know that you guys aren't going to play Gordon Hayward. You're not going to play LaMelo Ball. You're not going to have Malik Monk. So a whole bunch of their guys are not playing as well. How does that make your life different, knowing that you're not going to see the guys you expected to see?
Well, I think it doesn't change anything from the standpoint of we got to be who we are. We're not going to be focused. They're going to look different tonight. I don't know who they're going to start, who they're going to play. I don't know their rotation. What I do control is what our guys look like tonight. And that's going to be the message before the game. Be who we are, do what we do, and do it great. And if we do that, it doesn't matter, who's across from us. Obviously, their talent level is one of the highest in the NBA. They're a high-level team that is chasing an NBA championship, and they will be right there. But they have great pride over there. They're going to play hard tonight. There's guys over there that have won NBA games, and they're comfortable in these situations. Jeff Teague, Bobby Portis, Connaughton, Bryn Forbes. These are guys. These are true NBA guys that can win NBA games. So we do not take them lightly. But the biggest thing tonight is be who we are.
Coach, thank you so much for your time, and it sure would be nice. Good luck tonight.
Thanks, E. Appreciate it.
there's Coach's key to getting a win against this different-looking Bucks team. But how about our guy, DC Del Curry? We're going to hear his keys to winning this game when we come back on Hornets Live.
Jeff Mancini here with an incredible